to another edition of the Contractor's Secret Weapon weekly podcast with your hosts, Dave Negri. This program is dedicated to helping contractors, remodelers, painters, roofers, roof cleaners, and business owners in the construction industry gain an unfair advantage over the competition. This program supplies you with information that the competition doesn't even know exists. This session brought to you by ContractorsSecretWeapon.com.
Hey, another episode of Contractor's Secret Weapon. This is Dave Negri, your host, and today we've got some exciting news for you. By now, if you've been on our email list, you know that we have a new website up and running. Go look at it. It's pretty fun and exciting, and there's some new stuff on there for you too. Some new free stuff. And you will find out, we've been talking about announcing some new stuff that's coming up. Well, today I'm going to really announce it. And we're going to put together a series of podcasts for you, 5 days. And I think we may be even going to a full 5-day venue. So the first of the podcast series is going to be open and ready to go on October 9th, which is next Monday. So be on the lookout. It's going to be all about target marketing, 5 days of jam-packed good stuff for you to help you grow your business. So let's get into the podcast today. I have Pia Silva with Badass Branding, and she's a lot of fun to talk to, and you're going to get some great stuff from her that you can use in your business and learn how to be different. So let's get on with the podcast today. Hey, this is Dave Negri with Contractor's Secret Weapon. Today, I just want to introduce you Pia Silva. She is an entrepreneur, speaker, and writer. She is a partner at brand strategist at Worstofall Design, where they build badass brands without the BS for 1 to 3 person service businesses in 1 to 3 day intensives. She is a Forbes contributor and has spoken as a host to entrepreneur organizations, including Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Businesses, the Chamber of Commerce, Squarespace, and WeWork. Her company was named Top 10 Design Firms lead by young people that are changing the way they look at the world by Complex. Her up-and-coming book, Badass Your Brand, Impatient Entrepreneur's Guide to Turning Expertise into Profit Launches in 2017. And that's true. Also, entrepreneurs are impatient. So I just wanted to bring Pia along today because of what she has to offer. And before we get into the conversation with you, I just want to do a shout out to our sponsors who help promote Contractor's Secret Weapon and just some of the things that they have in store for you, our listeners. Hey, is your phone ringing enough? Do you want it to ring more with highly motivated and qualified buyers that contact you, the contractor, directly? No more waiting for the phone to ring. Just answer that phone. Best Home Services leads are dedicated to making your phone ring with motivated buyers that call you directly. There's no obligation to talk with them. Just go to ContractorSecretWeapon.com/money. Fill out the form to secure your discount on the setup fee. Do it today. This special will not last forever. Check them out at ContractorSecretWeapon.com/money.
Running a small business is no easy task, and I should know because I had a service company for almost 10 years. I am the founder of a software called Radius Bomb, and it's unbelievable. And for all the listeners of Contractor's Secret Weapon, we have a special offer for you to check out. If you want to send hyper-targeted, laser-focused, super personalized postcards to your exact prospects using a map while sitting in your underwear, then go to ContractorSecretWeapon.com/Radius Bomb, and we'll give you your first 100 postcards for free. Just go to ContractorSecretWeapon.com/Radius Bomb.
So, Pia, I just want to thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your expertise with our service industry. Seeing that's your expertise.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, Dave. Great to be here.
So cool. This is going to be fun. I love the way you do this. Your badass branding, and I think that everyone. And we've always talked about this as you can't be plain and you can't be boring. So how do you basically approach the branding in a sense for contractors?
Thanks. Well, good question. we say badass brands, and obviously that turns heads, but it means there's a lot of layers to that word, because to me, it really takes guts to be a badass brand. You actually have to be a badass, because it means that you are willing to be something that's different, say something that is special, and only when you're saying something special will you stand out from the crowd. But often it'll also mean that some people won't like you. I say on our homepage, in order to be loved, you have to be okay being misunderstood or even disliked by others. And most people don't like that idea. So that's where the badass really stems from. You got to be a badass to be separated from the crowd and to stand out and be unique. So that's what we really help people do, is figure out what is their badassery. And it's not necessarily, we're very contrarian in our brand and the way that we speak, badass brands without the BS. We say that right on our homepage. I don't think that everybody should say that. That's very specific and authentic to us. It's really whatever the client or the person we're speaking to, whatever their thing is. And sometimes it can be, sometimes it can be quite straight edge, but straight edge to an extreme. Whatever it is, it's own it all the way, so people can associate you with something.
Right. I think I think you'll agree that too many people are just want to be plain Janes, be boring, and expect the business to come in, but they don't know how to set themselves apart and are afraid. Do you think a lot of people are afraid?
I do. And I think everybody says they want to be different, but I don't think they really understand what that means. And I think it's human nature to want to fit in and to not want people to look at you. And lots of people don't like the spotlight or again, being criticized or judged. But by definition, to be something that is different, you have to be okay with some people not liking it or getting it. And that's why I think that it's kind of counterintuitive. I think a lot of business owners think, I don't want to turn anybody off. I don't want to turn off potential business. So I want to make sure that I'm likable to everyone. But the problem with being likable to everyone is that is generic. And that just means that you look like everyone else. And what happens then is you end up in this price war where if a client can't figure out why you're better, they'll just go with usually the cheapest option when all things are equal, or maybe the second cheapest option because they don't want to think that they're cheap. But either way, that's not the mindset you want your clients to be in when they're making a decision, looking at the price. You want them to be making a decision. I want to work with this person because they are going to solve my problem.
It always goes to problems, doesn't it? It doesn't go to price.
That's absolutely. We buy solutions. We do not buy anything else.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. And it's kind of challenging sometimes, people, give price discounts. And it just drives me crazy because then they get mad at their customer because they complain. And I said, but you attracted them.
Absolutely.
So now you got to get rid of them and attract the right one. So why not just start off with the right one from the very beginning?
Absolutely. Easier said than done, but that could not be more right.
Yeah.
I'm pulling my hair out saying that too. So.
Oh, I know. It gets crazy. So and I'm trying to get into everybody's head and just say, okay, how do you help your potential customer get it through their head that they need to be different, they need to stand out, and that they really need to push the envelope maybe just a little past their comfort zone? Yeah,
well, there's two parts to that.
Okay.
One is that I'm not in the business of convincing people, and neither should you be. My brand is so kind of aggressively us. And that means that we attract people who already want it in some ways. Now, that being said, the other prong is that I'm always pushing them to go farther, so there's an aspirational aspect to our brand because people see it and they go, oh, I want to be that. But then when I push them to go, not even nearly as far as we're going, but where they should go, they're like, ooh, can I really say that? And so it's amazing that that's what the human brain does, because the aspirational, it doesn't necessarily match up logically with what, internally you're actually comfortable doing. So it's a little bit of both, but, by being my brand, by us being such a strong brand, our clients are already halfway there. So that's one of the things that I usually turn on them and show them. I say, by you being this all the way, you're going to attract clients who are already bought into your perspective or your point of view or what makes you great or how you like to work. And that's really special, because you don't want to be there trying to convince people that they need something that they need. You want people who know that they need it and are looking for the specialist, you, to solve the problem. And I think that's another, you mentioned people giving discounts and all of that. To me, if someone's asking for discounts or you're trying to bargain with somebody, it means that they didn't really understand why you were the problem solver. So something was missed. The communication was not clear. And that's usually because the service provider wasn't clearly communicating why they were great.
Right. Yeah, they already started off on the wrong foot.
Yeah, from the beginning. Exactly. And that's where brand comes in, because brand is the first line of defense. It's what people see before they really even talk to you or contact you. Absolutely. Or it's what they hear about you from a referral, because your brand really does translate through when people are speaking about you.
Sure. It's part of the marketing process. It's everything that you do and everything you are. So it needs to be congruent.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
Wow. That's pretty cool. So I like that, what you said, that people that come to you are already over that halfway point because they know they need to do something and they're willing to jump on board because it means that much to them to change, to crush their competition.
Yes, absolutely. And those are the people that I want, because I want people who are motivated to do it because I know they're going to get real results from me. Anyone I would have to convince will probably back out on it later when it gets scary. And so they won't really get the value that I'm giving them. And so that's kind of a waste, I really want to work with people who are actually going to see results in the end.
Right. Yeah, they're willing to change. Because ultimately, if we don't change, we're going to have the same results we had yesterday. And if you're not happy with that, then you have to change.
Yes, and how logical that is, and how illogical the human brain is, or the human heart doesn't connect sometimes.
Yeah. I want it, but I don't. I want it, but I don't.
Yeah, I want it, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like my grandkids.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you gotta get them young.
Yeah, I know. So this is really cool, just to get everything going in a proper direction. So what are you normally, I know every business is different, and of course, like we talked about, you've got everyone's coming in at a different stage, but at least they're coming in this stage with a foot forward. What's the most logical, actually there's no logical way to grow your brand, to really jump out there, but I'm sure you have a system. And so how many different layers is basically your system? I don't want you to give the secret out. So
it's okay. I give the secret out everywhere, Dave, because there's the knowledge and then there's the execution,
right.
And execution is everything.
All right.
So there are no secrets. I'll tell you a little bit about my process so I can explain why we do it this way. So we have a very specific and unique process for clients. Our first step for anyone who wants to work with us is something called a brand shrink. It's an 1.5-hour interview with me and my partner, and we basically just ask a bunch of questions and deep dive into the business. So even if someone just comes to us because they want a new website, they must go through the brand shrink. And the reason is I don't want to just hear what you think your brand problem is or that you think your website needs to look nicer. I want to understand what's going on in your business and what problem you're trying to solve, because more often than not, once I understand your problem, I can tell you 4 other things that could be upgraded or Or maybe it's not your website at all. That's the problem. It's the fact that you're charging this way or you're talking about it this way. So it's usually multi-pronged of, how to fix that problem. So we do the brand shrink first, and it's its own thing. And people hire us just for that because they want our strategy. And I give them a brief at the end of it that outlines, this is what you're trying to do. This is what your challenge is, and this is how you're going to solve it. And this is exactly what you need to do to solve that with your brand, with your communications, whatever it is. And then at the end of that brief, I say, based on this, you need, a logo or the upgrade of a logo. You need the design and build of your website. You need all of your copy. You need this strategy outlined and actually implemented. You need help with your pricing. You need help with your sales pipeline, whatever it is.
Right.
And we can do that in a 1, 2, or 3 day intensive. And then once the client signs on, we do all the work up front, and then the client is available from 10 to 6 for usually a 1 day. I mean, most of our clients are 1 days. Where we take them through this process, and at the end of the day, they have all their stuff done. So their website is launched, they have their logo and their materials, their marketing materials, they understand how they're going to implement, the new strategy and new pricing and whatever it is, and then they're good to go. And that's the only way that we work. And so to backtrack, a lot of my process and that first part is figuring out what their specialty is, what their brand is, where they should focus, if they should focus on a specific kind of client, how they should talk about their offerings, and really where are they going to build a reputation of being the expert. We only work with people who want to sell at a premium price. So we don't work with people who are trying to play the pricing game, because brand is all about increasing the value of what you're selling and therefore increasing the price. So I'm all about profit margin. I really don't care if your gross revenue goes up, if your profits stay the same or go down. So those are the kinds of people that I also attract. And so all of this focusing on your message and who you're going to work with and how you're going to talk about it in a very unique and premium way, that is the first, I think, universal step towards building a badass premium brand that, attracts clients and you can charge a premium price for.
That's really awesome, because I think I would think that most contractors would go that route. But there's a lot of guys out there that like to fight over price, which is kind of crazy. But I personally love your philosophy, and I've always lived that philosophy, because I love Dan Kennedy's elasticity in pricing. So I always try to go to the max, and I'll come back a little if I have to. But it's all about giving them the value that they're looking for, but also for the profit margins that I need to give them that value. It's not a trade-off for dollars. Well, it is in a sense, because I'm raising my price so I can give them the value that they expect and they demand.
Yes.
There's too many guys out there that will give a cheap price and then walk away from the customer not finishing the job because there wasn't enough profit built into it.
Right. You didn't give that client the chance also to get the project that you both wanted.
Right.
And some clients might not pay it, but then I just say those aren't your clients.
Absolutely.
So,
but it's kind of one of my pet peeves is that most. No, I'm not going to say most, but a lot of business owners, it's really immaterial what business they're in. They're too transactional. They're only thinking about the sale today or that particular sale, instead of what the sale is later on down the road and what it brings in referrals and stuff like that. And that's where your end game really is.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. Speaking of contractors, I have my own experience hiring contractors. I used to manage a building that we lived in, and I had to have contractors come in for different things. Sure. And I would, as somebody who really values my time, it's like I would definitely pay more if they responded to me and just did it when they said they were going to. It's a very simple thing, and I know that contractors specifically get a really bad rap for this. And it's funny because I have dreams of opening my own business someday where it's like guaranteed, or your money back, because I don't understand why there's so few of that. And I think people are they're hesitant to make bold claims like that, but you can charge more when you make bold, audacious claims like that. And you can also deliver because you're making more money, so you're not scrambling, so you have more time. So it's like this beautiful cycle that kind of feeds you. And not all clients will appreciate that, but you don't want all the clients. You want people like me who appreciate their time and are willing to pay a premium to get that job done as promised, when promised, with no hassle. So I think that's a big opportunity. And if everyone listening out there, call me if you have that.
Come on, let's get with it. We're doing the cheerleading for you guys. Come on.
Yeah. I know there are people out there looking for that. So, there's opportunity there.
There is. And it's kind of interesting. I think we look at the I always call it the pie. And you know that the further you niche the piece of pie down, the more profits in it. But when you go to eat the whole pie, you're just a pig, and you're not going to make any money in the whole pie. You're just in. But it gets interesting to watch, and I'm sure you see this too. People running their businesses, and it's like the higher priced clients are only running 5 to 6% of actually the total of the market, but those 5 or 6% of the people are the people who have discretionary income.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone fights for what they think it's low-hanging fruit. But it's the low-hanging fruit is the price-conscious people.
And I think that's partially being really focused on the top line. Being really focused on the gross revenue and wanting to grow. I've watched business owners grow and grow and grow the gross revenue and decrease the amount they take home because of it and increase the amount of time they're working. And, when I show that to them, I'm like, does this make any sense? And they're kind of not really looking at it also because they're not necessarily keeping track. They're looking at the top line the whole time. But I think that's a huge mistake. I mean, because if you are operating that way, I mean, you could literally just fire half your clients and make the same amount of money and do half the work. I mean, who wouldn't do that, especially if you're working more than a regular 40-hour work week? Right. So it's so critical. I implemented, I don't know if you've heard of Profit First.
No.
It's good. It's really good for contractors. It's a great book by Mike Michalowicz, but it's a very simple accounting system that just basically it requires you to see the profit that you're making it's just the way you put your money in the bank, but it really illuminates it in a way, and you don't have to be a math person or anything. You just like forces you to take profit first and then pay your bills. And if you're not able to do that, then you can see you're not profitable. So you have to change things, and it kind of forces you to not just look at the top line. So I recommend that.
Wow, that's a great thought process.
Yeah, it's a cool book.
Awesome, because you're thinking only of profit when there's money left over, but if there's no money left over. So here's a scenario. I remember years ago I had a painting company, we used to do a lot of new construction, and there was this one huge builder, and I was talking with the trim carpenter one day, and we were talking about how much you make on a house. He goes, I don't make anything on a house. I said, wait, no. I says, there's something wrong there. He goes, no, I only make profit on the houses on extras. And I go, extras like crown molding and staircases and stuff. Yeah, other than that, it's basically free. And I'm going, there's something wrong here. Really?
Wow.
I said, so when the cash flow stops, you're technically out of business. And he goes, I never thought about it that way. So then another day, I'm sitting in a trailer, same builder, and and I'm waiting for the superintendent to come back. And there's two tile guys. They had multiple tile guys, but one tile guy goes, well, I lost $40,000 this year. And the other guys, I only lost $25,000. And I'm looking, where? And they go, this builder. And I go, why are you still here? Well, cash flow. I said, no, there is no cash flow if you're losing $40,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are great representations of what many service providers, not just in contracting industry, but in every industry, you go in because you're really good at what you do. And you don't necessarily ever put on the business owner hat and say, I need to either look at this critically and learn how to do it or bring someone on who can, because it's literally not worth my time. You can lose $40,000 hanging out with your kids and your family and, barbecuing in the backyard. I mean, you don't need to work all the time for that. So
and work 12, 15 hours a day, which is
crazy. Back-breaking work at that. Yeah. So, the most important thing you could do is really look at these aspects of your business.
Yeah.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah. Oh, I got tons of them. I listen to a bunch of guys, they're going, and I go, whoa, stop. That's sadness, the madness. We did a podcast, what does it take for you to get out of bed in the morning? Because a lot of guys don't know what it costs them to even get into their truck in the morning. But you have to go out and do a day's work. But they don't know whether that day's work has turned a profit or not.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the only time that it would be okay to do that would be because you understand exactly how that project or that step was actually building your business equity, brand equity, whatever, but not to get the next referral. Like, it has to be giving you something bigger. Yeah. Because otherwise, I mean, because then, because some businesses lose money some years, but that's usually because they're investing in the long-term value. But if it's just work for cash, then it's just it's just a wash. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. There can be some dynamic strategies where you do things basically at cost, but it brings you in a ton of business. Like there was a landscape a company, and they underbid. There was a huge, it's not a plantation, but a huge resort in their town. And so they bid it at exactly their cost to do it. But they had a truck there every day.
Right.
With their logo. And they got a tremendous amount of referrals from, so it was part of their marketing strategy.
Right.
And their whole overall strategy is to make them, more profitable, because they charged arm and leg everywhere else, but that was their billboard.
And that makes perfect sense because then you're really getting your marketing for free. It's paying for itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So
the flip side of all of what we're just talking about and how I view brand is that when you have a clear market and kind of client that you work for and way that you work with them and all of that, and it's very specific and clear, then every time you work with a client in that space, you're not just getting the money that you're making, you're getting another level of your expertise in that market. You're getting another referral client in that specialty. You're building your expertise and reputation in that specialty yet again more. So I look at that client as both making you money now and having a long-term value for you. And similarly, that's why I chastise clients when they have a niche and a specific market and then they go outside because they're scared or they need money. And I'm a big proponent of saying no to non-ideal clients. I say, if you really need the money and you have to take that client, fine, but just understand that client is not giving you any added value. They're just getting you cash now. And sometimes you have to do that, but that's really something you want to avoid. You always want to be getting dual value from a client. It has to be helping you with your brand and your expertise and making you money. So what we're talking about is like the flip side, where it's all just cash for work and you're never getting that additional value.
No, you always want additional value. Especially if you want, I'm a big proponent of building a lifestyle around your business and not your business owning you. So in order for that to happen, then you have to do things your way, the way you propose to do things with your clients.
I agree. I mean, that's where our whole process even came from. We used to have an agency model. I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with the agency world, but, long projects, big clients, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 projects, 6-8 months, meetings and feedback and lots of opinions. And, one day we ended up in debt doing that. And one day we looked at it and we were like, we don't like anything about this. We are I work with my husband, he's my partner, and we had a couple of employees, and the whole thing, we just said, wait a second, this is nothing like what we want. If we really critically think about it, what we want is a lifestyle business that affords us a lot of freedom and flexibility. So we cut that out completely, and we went to this, 1 to 3 day intensive model, which allows us to make a lot of money in a short amount of time and literally do whatever else we want the rest of the time. That's really wonderful for what we want. And we could make a lot more money if we worked with a lot more clients, but that's not what we want. We're not looking to make, $1 million. We're looking to make a healthy living and have a lot of freedom. So it's all about, I would say even build your business around your lifestyle. Right. Work backwards.
Yeah. Instead of building, I think we think about that. A lot of us think about that in the beginning. Oh, I want this lifestyle. And then we get to working so hard, we forget about what we actually wanted because we're just feeding the beast all the time.
Oh, instantly. Because when you first start in business, it is a bit of a, when you're first starting, you do have to get those first few clients and you're not working with that much. So it's understandable. But then you kind of get into this thought habit where you just keep going and you forget the beginning part. Why you did it in the first place. So it's so valuable to just, I think, periodically take a step back and go, okay, well, now where is my business and how close is it to my ideal? And is it even going in that direction? Right. Maybe it's not. Maybe I got to change course. But it's easy to just get wrapped up in the day-to-day and forget about it. It's too bad.
Cool. That's awesome. So any last imparting thoughts you'd like to leave our contractors on building a brand?
I would, leave you a tip. A lot of people wonder, how do I figure out what my specialty should be? I always say, look backwards. So look at your past clients, look at your favorite clients, analyze which projects were profitable. Your example of the guy with the molding and the staircases, like that being the profit.
Yeah.
If those are the most profitable projects, then literally don't take projects that don't have those. Just to say, your target client is the kind that wants the crown molding and the staircase. So that's how I usually start with clients. I ask them about their favorite previous clients and try to build a niche around that.
Cool. So Pia, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Our company's Worstofall Design .com, but I'd love to give you guys my brand shrink interview. If anyone out there is looking for some help trying to figure out your niche, I put it at Badass Your Brand. That's my book, by the way, where I kind of talk about all these strategies. BadassYourBrand.com/secret weapon. So if you go there, you can download my brand shrink questionnaire, and you'll also get the first chapter of my book where I talk about how we made the pivot from 40 grand in debt to 500K in 12 months by doing this kind of, pivoting and niching.
Awesome.
So
I'll put all this stuff in the show notes, and then everyone will be able to get that. Thanks so much for being with us. It was really fun talking with you and getting everything going because it's really important stuff.
My pleasure, Dave. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Again, I want to thank you for joining us and investing your time with us today. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and if you did, go to iTunes, give us a shout out. You can also go to our website, www.contractorsecretweapon.com, and check out today's episode and leave us a comment in the bottom of the page. And if you haven't gotten your 15 secret weapon strategies to getting higher-end customers, get it while you're at the website. Also, I want to thank again our sponsors for keeping this podcast alive for your profit-making pleasure. And so go be profitable this week. Work smarter, not harder, and learn how to leverage your time and your knowledge so that you can be more profitable. Again, see you next week.
Thanks for joining us for another weekly episode of the Contractor's Secret Weapon podcast with Dave Negri. We would love to hear your comments about this episode, so visit us online at www.contractorsecretweapon.com and let us hear your thoughts. If you are listening via iTunes, please leave us a positive review. The more positive reviews we receive, the more other contractors will benefit from this show. Thank you, and see you next time here on the Contractor's Secret Weapon Podcast.